This is Ellen Brown's video on the web of debt. It's a series of 5 videos. This is the 5th out of the 5 videos. Okay, and we're going to review this from the point of view that we are one and equal as the life force that we are, expressing ourselves here on earth with these problems facing us, the economic problems facing us right now, the recession, and what can we do about it?
Letting the money supply is if you use the money to create goods and services, you won't create inflation. Inflation is the result of demand exceeding supply, or the amount of money competing for goods and services going up faster than the goods and services. But if you have, let's say you have 100 widgets and you have $100 competing for 100 widgets, the price according to supply and demand will be $1 per widget. Now, if you add $1,000 to the money supply, or add $900, you have $1,000 competing for 100 widgets. That'll drive your price up to $10. But if you use that $1,000 to make 1,000 widgets, your price will still be $1. So what you can do is issue yourself credit and use it to make things, and then so that will increase your supply. That's one way to prevent inflation. Another thing you can do is use it for things that actually pay money, such as low-cost housing. The rents would come back to the government, or developing alternative energy, and the fees that you generate from selling this energy go back to the government. So how much money could the government actually print without hyperinflating the money supply? Right now, these figures come from Richard Cook, although I did the chart. This was in 2006. The gross domestic product came to $13 trillion, and the wages and income of people only came to $10 trillion. So we only had $10 trillion available to buy a $13 trillion gross domestic product. We can't afford our own products that we create. So this money here is created as loans. This is all debt to banks. We borrowed this money in order to afford our own products. And some of this income is actually invested. So there's really only $9 trillion available to buy $13 trillion in goods. And that's at less than full employment. If you were at full employment, it would be close to $15 trillion. So you would have $9 trillion available to buy $15 trillion. That leaves nearly $6 trillion that you could put into the system without driving up prices if you didn't allow banks to create this money. You could substitute government-issued money for bank-issued money. And if we can't get Congress to do it, the other alternative, which I think is actually better, or more likely, or something that you can do in Michigan, would be for the states to do it. States, there are 2 banking systems. There's the state banking system and the federal banking system. So a state could buy up a bank and charter it. The only state that actually owns a bank is North Dakota, owns the Bank of North Dakota. And there, all the government's money goes into the bank. And North Dakota is fiscally sound. They're doing well when other states are going bankrupt. And they have, for instance, a very good student loan program when other states are scrambling to find the money and the interest is going up on their student loans. The reason is they have this huge deposit base that comes from the government, and they're just issuing money from that. Now, I've tried to look into how they work it, and I couldn't find the details. But you could use this model and take all the government's money, put it into a state bank, and then on the fractional reserve system, you could magnify that money by a factor of 10. So you would have credit available to the state, or to state and local governments, of 10 times your deposit base. And because the state can charter the bank any way it wants, the state could set it up so that these loans could be made to state and local governments for like 1% interest, or 0.5% interest, or even 0% interest. And then they'd get paid back from the proceeds of the project. Or they could, if the proceeds were insufficient, they could get paid back by the taxpayers. But the cost of most projects is 50% interest, and that was what it used to be, and now it's getting worse because state and local governments can't find anybody to roll over their short-term loans. What they do, these auctions are popular where they roll over like 6-week loans to fund their 5-year projects, their long-term projects. But now there's nobody available to buy these short-term loans. And so, for instance, I read that the New York Port Authority had a 5-year project at 4%, but it suddenly wound up paying 20% interest. Well, if you're paying 20% interest over 5 years, you've already tripled the cost of your project. So just think what you could do if you could take interest out of the equation. All these things that seem like they're not feasible, various alternative energy projects, would suddenly be quite not only affordable, but actually could generate a profit. So that was the quick.
So these are common sense solutions that Ellen Brown is suggesting for us to do. And what I'm going to do is look at other suggested solutions that make sense from the common sense point of view, and take that, and what we can do is talk about whether or not this is according to this solution will fit into our beingness, which is our identity as one and equal as all life. Okay, but she's proposing low-cost housing, the government printing the money rather than the Federal Reserve. Actually, that is being caused rather than an effect of what is going on right now. Okay, cool.
Run, but it's all